Good morning, everybody. I have a few updates I would like to provide you this morning. First, I want to start by offering my condolences to the family and friends of 21-year-old Lakeria Taylor. She and a man were shot early Sunday morning after leaving Club Euphoria. There were other people injured at the club early Sunday morning, including 3 people that were shot inside of Club Euphoria. The same club was the scene of multiple shootings less than 2 years ago, including 1 homicide. All of this is unacceptable. We, as in the mayor and the council, have an expectation that club owners protect their patrons and their customers, and that is not the case here. Therefore, I am happy to see Councilor Williams, as chairman of Public Safety, present to his council some information that he will provide to you in a minute. But I want to give public notice to any club owner. You are responsible for protecting your patrons, and if you do not do so, we will move to shut you down. So with that, I would like Councilor Hunter Williams to come up and give you some more detail.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate it. Over the past couple of years, like Mayor Woodfin just said, we've had numerous incidents of gunfire that have eventually resulted in the death of 2 people at one location. I want to be explicitly clear that if you operate any venue in the city of Birmingham, whether it be an entertainment venue, a bar, anywhere that serves alcohol, or have any sort of responsibility for hosting members of the public, Birmingham residents or visitors of the city of Birmingham, you are required and you are expected to have a safe environment so that we have something where our citizens, where our visitors, where our guests will not succumb to any type of violence or anything like we've seen over this past weekend, specifically at Club Euphoria. This council and this mayor's office will do whatever we can to enforce every single ordinance that we have on the books here in the city of Birmingham, as well as every law that we have at our disposal through the state of Alabama, to make sure that no matter what, our citizens will be safe at public venues as well as our visitors. Today, the council passed a public hearing that will take place on June the 29th in the full council chambers to consider the revocation of Euphoria's business license. I want to publicly say that Euphoria will not be the only club or venue that we will look at. If you have had a history of violence, it's something that you either own or operate, rent out, or host members of the public, we will make sure that you are following the letter of the law so that we do not have any more incidents like we had this past weekend. And so thank you, Mayor, for being supportive of that. And I'd like to thank the members of the council for availing themselves for this public hearing this upcoming June the 29th. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Again, let me thank Councilor Hunter Williams for leading in this effort as chairman of Public Safety. Listen, as Councilor Williams said, you are now on notice if you own and or operate one of these establishments or venues. We hope you have a public safety plan in place for your venue, but you won't be given a second chance. Please protect your patrons or we'll move to shut you down. A couple of other notes. One is that I want to remind people, I want to remind the citizens of Birmingham, I want to remind those who have a platform they can continue to share this information, that there's a $25,000 reward for each of the 5 cases where children under the age of 10 were shot this year. We will continue to spread the word about these shootings, and we really want to urge anyone with information to call Crime Stoppers at 205-254-7777. Again, that's 205-254-7777. Anyone that has information that can lead to an arrest of these 5 children under the age of 10 who have been shot. Again, I want to thank Crime Stoppers, the Housing Authority, ATF, and a very, very special thank you to 25 plus of our faith leaders in this community who stepped up with passion, with their time and with their resources to lend to lend to this effort to take these killers and shooters and cowards off our streets who've hurt children. Now, some good news. I want to share with you all that the city of Birmingham is a recipient of the Mayor's Challenge. Please allow me some time to explain what that is. Birmingham is one of 50 champion cities selected as a finalist in the Bloomberg Philanthropies 2021 Global Mayor's Challenge. This is a global innovation competition. In part, it identifies and accelerates the most ambitious ideas developed by cities in response to COVID-19 pandemic. Our proposal rose to the top of a competitive pool of more than 630 applications. That's more than 630 applications from 99 countries. Birmingham now advances to the 4-month champion phase of this competition. Our proposal seeks to enable access to quality affordable food by equipping next generation community leaders to lead that charge. I think you all know that nearly 70% of Birmingham residents lack access to affordable fresh food close to home. And this has been a topic we've been driving since we first got in office. The pandemic showed us that we can't rely on existing grocery store models and emergency food supply chains to meet the need of our community from a sustainable basis standpoint. And so we need to shift the balance of food power back to the community and catalyze homegrown solutions in order to really empower food access. The Birmingham Food Corps will generate new solutions to this challenge, and it will be comprised of Birmingham City School graduates. The Birmingham Food Corps will become food system experts. I think it's important that our local people will be embraced and empowered to become food system experts through hands-on training and rotations with local food stakeholders. They'll develop food systems change through training in human-centered design, as well as entrepreneurship, backed by seed funding to pilot their ventures. I want to thank Amelia Mueller, who's on our team, who's led this effort, and she's been a champion in this space. The Mayor's Challenge will help us test and refine how to do this alongside local food system partners like Jones Valley Teaching Farm and neighborhood leaders who are immersed in this work. And so kudos to you and thank you so much. I also want to give an update related to the Banks High School demo. The Banks High School project has entered the next critical phase for demolition. And I know Councilor Hunter Williams will be very excited about this update. Contractors are on the property this week, removing any hazardous materials from the interior of the building. Once the abatement is complete, demolition will begin as early as next week, with weather permitting. This will be a major step for residents of South Eastlake, and I want to thank the neighborhood leader, Frank Hamby, as well as Councilor Hunter Williams and all the residents of South Eastlake for keeping the city of Birmingham honest and making sure we remove this blighted structure. This $380,000 demolition project will take 2 months to complete, so it will not be a slow process. I have a few more updates to give before we get into any questions. One is an ACE update. Allow me to take the moment to welcome our newest members of ACE. Through the Academy of Civic Engagement, residents can get a deeper understanding of how our city works. The 80 people joining us for ACE this summer will participate in orientation this Thursday, and I look forward to engaging them and having a conversation with them, as well as lending our entire team and our department heads and others on peeling back the layers of how city government works and how they can be more informed and empowered to lead in their communities and neighborhoods. There's an additional update on the Division of Youth Services related to our Kids and Jobs program this summer for our young people between the ages of 14 and 19. I want to remind everyone that applications have been submitted for the Division of Youth Services Kids and Jobs program, and that registration ended yesterday. This is a great chance for these youth and our youth to gain some professional development and be safe and earn some income. And I want to thank Galvin Billups, who leads the DYS, and his team for their hard work on this initiative. Also owe you all a public works update. I want to remind our residents that the recent rainy weather has created delays in the city's grass cutting efforts. The rain delays have impacted our city employees and our contractors to be able to stay on schedule and actually mow and cut these empty lots in our city. We expect more rain next week that can delay possible work, so we ask that you be patient with us. We're not cutting because we don't want to, but simply because of inclement weather. However, in order to support our continued public works efforts, we have added 25 additional employees to support our horticulture efforts. So far this year, Public Works has serviced 24,000 acres and more than 11,000 blocks cut in the city. One last note is Juneteenth, and I'm going to bring a team member up in a minute. The Juneteenth celebration is this weekend. The city will be celebrating with our residents, and this is a great reminder to remind our citizens and Americans about what's happened in this country related to black people and race. Friday will be a half day with city offices closed at noon. And Uche Bean with the Office of Social Justice and Racial Equity joins me now to give you all some more detail and update on the activities this weekend.
Thank you, Mayor. The City of Birmingham is pleased to see so many organizations coming together this weekend to celebrate Juneteenth, including the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, Urban Impact, and the National Juneteenth Observance Foundation of Alabama. And they have planned several events in the Civil Rights District, Kelly Ingram Park, and along the 4th Avenue Business District on Saturday. Early in the morning, there'll be a parade that starts at 9 a.m. And throughout the day, several events are planned at the Pavilion in Kelly Ingram Park from 10:30 to about 3 p.m. The Civil Rights Institute will also have events going on that evening until dark. Included in those events, there'll be a children's village, music, food, and other vendors available. From 5 to 9 p.m. on Saturday, Urban Impact will host a Eat in the Streets along the 4th Avenue Business District. Also, Danielle Hines will have an open house for Creed 63, a new co-working space that's being steeped in history and focused on the future of the Arthur Shores Law Center, which is nestled directly in the Civil Rights National Monument. Also on Saturday, the Modern Day Green Book will host their first annual Juneteenth Festival at Legion Field. And finally, Sidewalk Cinema will have a showing of Miss Juneteenth on Saturday at 2:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. in downtown Birmingham. We look forward to you joining us for the partnerships we forged on this Juneteenth. Thank you.
Thank you, Uche. For now, that's some updates we have, and I'll turn it over to Rick for any questions you all may have.
Okay, we've got one reporter on the phone, we've got a couple of folks in here, I'll just open it up. Are you good?
Go ahead.
Okay, we'll go to, I know we've got Alabama political reporter on the line. Good morning to you. You have a question? Alabama political reporter, do you have a question? Okay, thanks. Ryan, do you have anything, any follow-ups? Brandon?
In regards to the club safety, what is not being done that should be done to ensure the safety of the patrons inside and in the immediate vicinity of and around there, and what are your recommendations going forward with that?
I will gladly allow Councilor Hunter Williams to add to whatever I would say. The first thought is very simple, actually, which is patrons deserve to feel safe and be safe. I think at a lot of these places where you have a larger crowd, where you have alcohol, where you have music or performances, etc., one of the immediate things you can do is have metal detectors, right? I think that's pretty standard these days when you go into certain establishments, at least that I frequent, where certain activities occur. And so if that exists, but guns are still allowed, then what are you doing? What are your personnel doing? And then if those metal detectors do not exist, that calls into question a whole lot of other things. And so as simple things I think these owners can do. Look, I'm not the expert. My job is to enforce the law, enforce our ordinances, and that's what we will do. I think I have seen instances in the past where this council, under the purview of public safety, has said, hey, show us your public safety plan. I think that those owners can work with anybody to come up with that. Would you like to speak to this?
Yeah, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for your support in the enforcement arena. From the legislative arena, from the council's perspective, we have something on the books called the Felder Ordinance. We do require places that have Class 1 dance permits and other liquor permits to actually have a safety plan. We have denied permits in the past for businesses that are trying to open that do not have a safety plan that meets our Felder Ordinance. And then a lot of times when we have incidences like what we had this past weekend, we find that they might have presented the council a safety plan to get their liquor license. However, that safety plan is no longer in practice. It was in paper only to achieve that license. And when we have incidences where, you know, we have members, we're invited large groups of the public to a specific place. We have you know, a special on liquor, whatever, dancing, things like that, and we foster an environment where criminal activity is likely to occur. That's when we as a council and the mayor from an enforcement standpoint are going to step in and say, you know, you're going to have the proper procedures in place to protect the public, to protect the citizens of Birmingham in order to operate in the city limits of Birmingham. And so this council, this public safety committee will stand with our mayor and say, if you're not going to operate under the Felder Ordinance, which is in place, then we will move forward in shutting you down.
Are metal detectors a requirement as a part of that for an establishment?
You know, they're not a requirement, and the reason why is all establishments that serve alcohol or have a dance permit are not the same. But a lot of times when you have venues that are hosting specific types of events, and you have big activities, lots of dancing, things like that are going on, that in the past have been a public nuisance, you know, at the end of the day, you have a lot of complaints from neighborhoods and also complaints from the Birmingham Police Department because of the call volume that we're having to service that specific location with. Then, you know, it might be in the best interest of that club owner or that venue operator to have metal detectors. It completely depends on the type of venue and the type of event that is going on. But if you have something that is prone to criminal activity and you're hosting it, or you're the owner of the venue and you're not doing what you need to do to make sure that you have mitigated the risk to the public, then this council, this public safety committee, and this mayor will move forward in making sure that you're not hosting that event.
What does the city do, or what can the city do to ensure that these club owners, promoters, or whatever follow the plan that they presented to?
The Birmingham Police Department and under our mayor have a robust business compliance unit. We check in on all the businesses, and they don't know we're checking in on them, and we will continue to do that to make sure that this committee, Public Safety Committee, has all the information that we need from Mayor Woodfin's office to make sure that they are in compliance. But you know, the city of Birmingham cannot be on every person's front door. We cannot be in every restaurant. We cannot be in every bar, which is why they have to present us a plan in writing, and we can routinely check on to make sure that that plan is being followed.
And either of you can answer this question. Just your message to the patrons who are there, who are a lot of times the root cause of the issue.
So listen, we want our patrons, we want our citizens as patrons to have a good time in our establishments. We don't take pleasure in moving to shut a business down. We understand how taxes are generated in our city. We understand that entertainment is a big part of a draw to our city, not just for visitors, but for our citizens who live here. But I know majority of our citizens have an expectation to not only feel safe, but be safe. And there are a handful of knuckleheads out here that are always going to attempt to do something to disrupt a good time. We just want our business owners to not allow that to happen, or continue to allow that to happen. So, and that's the biggest message I have for you on that.
Anybody else? All right, everybody.